Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another community watch party for a Pantheon developer stream. I'm dressed up for the occasion. I'm heralding in spring. Say that 5 times fast. I'm glad you're here. I hope everybody's doing well. I've been looking forward to this because yet again I'm going in completely blind and I have no idea what we're about to see here today. All I know is that it is going to be the State of the Game report aired on the Visionary Realms Twitch channel yesterday. I have not seen any of it, and so that's what we're gonna dig in here to today. But you know, I don't think we've ever had a State of the Game report where we haven't learned something. Like State of the Game reports are pretty much always a good thing. We pretty much always get some beans. And speaking of beans, how about that segue? We have released some new merch over on the BAZGRIMTV merch store, and as you can see, we got some Bean Alert merch, right? Because what else are you gonna put your beans in other than a mug or a bottle? We've been getting a lot of beans lately, and you know, we decided that we're going to be releasing new merch designs every quarter this year to experiment with adding some more variety. And this quarter is the Bean Alert mug, so you can get whether you like coffee or even if you don't drink coffee. This is the perfect thing to sip on while during these developer live streams. Now, of course, I don't. These are brand new. I haven't even announced this yet, by the way. I haven't even posted this anywhere else, but because you guys came to the watch party, I wanted to share with you. So I don't actually own any of these yet. These are brand new. We got mugs, bottles, and stickers, but then of course we also still have the Imminence merch, and that I do have that. That's what I'm going to be drinking out. That's what I'm going to be drinking out of today. Hey, Erikai, Sparrow, Mathier, Minus, Gullo Gullo, welcome guys. You got the early crowd, the early birds. What are you guys imbibing today? I've just got water. I'm always a water. I'm a water boy. Anyway, head on over to designbyhumans.com/shop/BAZGRIMTV if you want to get some Bean Alert merch. Got the links down below on Twitch and on YouTube as well, no matter where you're watching. Sparrow's got water. You really can't go wrong with water. I love water. The essence of life. All right. Well, I think I'm pretty much settled in. Everybody else settled in. Let's not waste any time. All right, let's see what we got here today. Hey Oren, welcome. I'm doing great, man. How are you? Minus had some mojitos at lunch a little early. Starting early, I like it. Oh, Minus
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the April 14th, 2022 Pantheon Rise of the Fallen development stream. I am your host, David Roenick-Schlau. With me, as always, is my co-host, Tony Guidi, aka Minus.
Hey, David. Excited for tonight. How about you?
Very excited for tonight. Obviously, last month we had a pretty massive stream. We showed off a lot of great stuff. Really exciting as far as progression. You know, made some major strides. Had a lot to show off. This month, we're going to be kind of checking in with the departments, seeing what everybody's up to, you know, what they're engaged in, how development's moving along. And then we're going to show some new things, you know, checking in the constant development of Wild's End, you know, as that happens alongside the world building and development. Tony, you want to kick things off for us?
Yeah, for sure. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, as David said, going through that kind of a department roundup, let you guys know what is being worked on, where progress is, And we got some special clips we're actually going to play for you too. We got little quick interviews.
Do you think that's why Minus is wearing the beanie? Minus is here. Maybe you can answer. Is it to reduce the glare off your forehead? Is that the hidden reason? It kind of reminds me. Joppa kind of wears like a similar beanie. That's kind of the vibe. Maybe he's just trying to like fill in. Maybe he's just filling in for Joppa. Somebody's got to have a beanie.
Clips from some of the people within the department. So some neat stuff, a little different than something we've done before. So let's get started with the programming team. What do you think, Dave? Is that a good place to start?
Sounds great.
All right. So with the programming team, one of the buzzwords that has been said for a while now is networking. I know that if you've kept up on patch notes or the Road to Alpha roadmap that we put out in the newsletter, we've talked a lot about getting into networking, and we've talked for a while about getting to that point when we could. So I want to let you guys know that they are deep into network implementation. There's still further work being done as well from the team on environmental tools and cleanup through the internal testers, which we're going to hear from a little bit too. And what's really cool is, David, they're working on snow effects. We're hoping to see that soon. Everybody liked the weather effects and everything that was going on with the rain and the fog. I think you really liked the fog, if I don't remember. Yeah, right.
I love the fog. I'm super excited for snow, though. I mean, I'm the cold. The dwarves are, that whole area is going to be amazing.
Yeah. So some of that's going to be shown in the future here. We're excited to show that. But instead of us talking about it, let's play a little clip here from the programming team and see what everybody thinks, and we'll kind of wrap it up and talk through it. I got a chance to sit with Kyle here, our lead programmer. And Kyle, why don't you give us a little bit of idea of what's going on in programming right now?
So we've been focused on bringing Vinyl, our network implementation, up to production level, meaning going through all the old to-dos that we left ourselves and cleaning those up, and bringing some of the more background features that weren't immediately necessary to get up and running on the library, bringing those up to production quality as well. That has been finished, and we are doing actual integration into Pantheon now with the library. So I've got test connections being made, and the process now is just porting over all of our components that are on the player controller to the new network library. And that's the ongoing process that I'm on right now.
And Kyle, I know from internal discussions, you've now been able to shift pretty much most of your focus, I believe, to networking. Whereas before, being a part of a small programming team, obviously you had to help fix bugs and issues that would come up. But do you feel really good about how much time you're able to put into networking now? I know you've sort of been waiting for this.
Oh yeah, that was sort of the plan, was to work on networking initially sort of part-time while putting out fires and assisting the rest of the team where needed for a majority of my daily tasks, right? Now that has shifted over to just full-time networking, basically. Once in a while, I'll get pulled off of it and work on something different, but that's just to help somebody put out a fire, and I'm right back onto full-time networking. Yeah,
that's excellent to hear. I know a lot of the community has been waiting, probably not as much as you, but has been waiting to hear that networks being implemented and to eventually be able to celebrate that moment when networking is completed. So good luck to you. Thank you for all you and your programming team do. And we're excited to hear when that finish line eventually gets there.
Yep, you guys will hear it very soon.
All right. So he said.
All right. So first of all, Erikai asks if there's a bean alert beanie in the store. Missed opportunity. Yes, it is missed opportunity. Well, kind of. That would be a great idea if the store, the merch provider that I use, had beanies as an option. Unfortunately, they don't. Anyway, second, I like this format of like pre-recorded short interview with a dev and then just playing it on the live stream. I think that works well. I imagine it's probably easier on the devs too, rather than having to like coordinate them all being available during the live stream and doing that live and stuff. I think that's a good choice. Third, just a little, context on Vinyl for those who may not be up to speed on it. The milestone that they're in the middle of, it's hard to overestimate the importance. And it's, it takes quite a bit to explain. I do have a video on my YouTube channel for those who haven't seen it already. It's a little bit of a longer video than I would normally make but again, it's a complex topic to explain comprehensively, but it's also it is one of the most important steps that Pantheon has taken in a very, very, very long time, because up until now, the game literally just has not been able to support even like a few hundred concurrent players, let's say, because they were the networking solution that they were using was so outdated and just never really built for an MMO in the first place. But now this is homegrown, it's tailor-made, and so once it actually is done, it will be the first time where they can actually have a launchable amount of players in the game at one time. So it's a huge step, and we've known that we knew ahead of time that it would take a while to do. I think they estimated like 2 to 3 months, and we're probably, so last month I think they said they had like just started it, so we're maybe like a little bit, like a month or maybe a little bit more into that process. So and them saying that it's going well, it's like, yeah, that sounds great. That's kind of like what I expected. Also, that it doesn't, I don't know, it's hard to really quantify though, you know what I mean? So we're still just kind of waiting that out till we hear that it's actually done, because like Minus was saying, that'll be definitely something worth celebrating. Oren says network updates don't face value come off as exciting, but it's really indicative of the actual progress of the foundation of the game. I think that's really well said. When it's in progress, like when they're working on, there's not really anything that they can really show that's like I said, it's hard to quantify. Like there's nothing really that they can show, which makes it hard from the outside perspective, the community. And also, even when it's done, like, yeah, they can, do demonstrations of, here's how many things are on screen, without causing all sorts of like hitching or crashes or anything like that. They can do stuff like that, but still, like, it's all kind of like under the hood stuff. It's not like necessarily you blow your mind like some, big graphical improvement or like a brand new zone or something like that. And as I've talked about it a million times before, like that's what makes following game development like this from the outside really, really difficult. It's hard to get that perspective, but again, watch the video. Once you start to get a better understanding of it, I think you'll start to see how like hugely crucial this is. Anyway, moving on.
We'll see and hear that very soon.
Like the words, very soon. And it sounds like they're making some big strides, not only bringing the to-dos up to speed, but some of the background features up and running into like a production level, and it's all being implemented right into the game. And of course, obviously, the team focusing just full time on networking is going to be huge. It sounds super encouraging.
Yeah, I like how chat saying for context, very soon is very good. I agree. Very good indeed. We know that the networking has been a long process. It's been something we've wanted to put a lot of time into, and it's a huge step in us getting to, it's not the final step. It's a huge step in our roadmap to alpha for sure. So programming team's rocking and rolling. That's good news for everybody. So David, why don't you talk about the next department? And I'll put up some images here for you too while you're doing it.
I would love for you to put up some images. Yeah, we're going to check in with the art team here. Why don't you throw up the weapon stuff? You got it.
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, the art team has been
I like
making
that.
some huge progress on the basic weaponry. A lot of the starting materials have been completed, and now work is being implemented not only in the weapons but armor. Got
some like Darth Maul vibes going on.
You'll see, as you see here, they're on the weapons, and soon we'll start to see it in the armor. That's one facet the art department's working on. As well, the animations, we're making some big progress there. We have the art team working on some the best thing I can kind of describe it as, it's almost sort of like, when you look at traditional animation and you see the various sort of it's like in betweens, right, of each animation thing. So we have drawings of that, and they're eventually going to be implemented, and they're really taking some original sort of context and original kind of ideas and applying it to casting animation, some things that you probably haven't seen yet. In addition, on the animation side of things, we have the idle pose improvements, and that's, I believe, in-game. Is that right? You'd know better than I would there, Tony.
Yeah, the idle poses for like basic weaponry has all been sort of updated, improved, and pretty much good to go for those idle poses. A lot of it's gotten done. It's looking pretty good.
Yeah. And then I this little bean drop. The team's working on finishing designing one of the Terminus's big baddies. Unfortunately, we got nixed from showing it to you guys, but it looks awesome. You'll have to take our word for it on that one. But yeah, our tournament rocking and rolling also.
Yeah, for sure. And
That's
just to give you a
lot.
little more context on the animations that
It's a lot of weapons that Philip's been. I assume that's Philip's work. He's been cranking those out. Those are a lot of, and those are like, very polished looking. I wish they I was gonna say I wish they would show like the animations that they were talking about, but maybe they will. I'll continue. Because I don't know.
David was talking about in like the framework that we're working on the art team. I'm sure people had heard the developer roundtable where they discussed it a bit. So if you haven't, go back and listen to that. But it's really neat looking through all the different types of casting. I'm not going to go into detail on those different types, but thinking about the different types of casting, healing, damage spells, stuff like that, and all the variations of it, we're seeing these really amazing frame by frame renderings that are really painting a picture for how we're going to animate. And some of them are really cool. David, you've gotten a chance to see some of those. They are some innovative poses and casting techniques that just look incredible. So the art team is doing a ton of things on different fronts right now, for sure.
I look forward to the day that we can put out the Art of Pantheon book, because between all the concept art stuff that we've come up with, and now these pencil sketches, very rendered and finished, but like just seeing the casting animations or the combat, not only to the player characters but to the NPCs as well. It's amazing.
Should we put it out there that it's also saved Joppa? We used to have to make Joppa try to do these poses and fighting styles in his room so we could get visuals of it. Now he doesn't have to anymore. I hope that footage is out there somewhere, right? That would be great.
That will be in the director's cut.
Joppa doing backflips and spinning kicks and stuff would be great. Yeah. I'd love to see that. Awesome. Well, thank you to the art team for providing some of the images. There is a lot of weaponry out there that they're working on. And again, getting those materials that you've all seen before, those metal materials, into different armor types is also going to be really cool. We're excited to show that, like we did with a lot of the weapons previously. So,
yeah. And I think you also, we really didn't even get into some of those weapons that we just showed are new and people haven't seen it. The shields, so there's much more to come there.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's getting cranked out. Like the speed is impressive. Like what we're showing you is already old. And it's kind of the case on some of the stuff we're going to show you later too. But David, let's get into the QA team, the quality assurance team. A lot of people know them as testers. They have been really, really hard at work. I'm talking almost every day. Their communication channel is just impressive. It's talking about the different things they're working through. But again, I don't want to sit here and talk like I'm an expert of it. I just sit and watch in awe at the hard work they do. But we actually got a chance to sit with the QA manager. So let's go ahead and we'll roll some of that audio. Okay, and to talk a little bit about QA, I am here with Kim Morrison, our manager of quality assurance, and her and her team have been doing some amazing work. But Kim, rather than me talk about what you guys have been up to, why don't you give us a little insight into all the things you've worked on?
Hey, Tony, thanks for the intro and thanks for having us on the stream tonight. So QA received the first HDRP conversion build a couple months ago, and we have been really hard at work testing everything that you could possibly think of. We've started with balance, so we were grouping up and we were testing abilities. We were testing how different classes felt with each other. We definitely try odd groups, odd number of people, large groups, small groups, medium groups. And then we pass a lot of that feedback on to creative and whatever other team, perhaps programming, gets involved. And, we kind of have these discussions on what we're seeing. And then, we moved on to the more technical stuff where we basically dug every ability and spell apart and we tested everything, and we tested them for sometimes hours, just hitting them in every different angle you can possibly think of, in the box, out of the box, everywhere. The next place we hit was terrain. So we had this whole terrain integrity test plan that QA came up with, and we all split up and basically walked up and down through the valleys, up the mountains, everywhere, and we were looking for any kind of problem you could possibly think of. Trees that were floating, NPCs that were floating, NPCs who don't have weapons, tears in the terrain, places where you can fall, places where you can get stuck. We went through the water. We did it all. And I have to say, we're feeling really, really good with how things are feeling. There's still more testing to be done, but I guess I'll leave you with two kind of notable / maybe funny bugs. So right now there's no eyeballs in Terminus, so we look kind of creepy. It's kind of the thing that nightmares are made
That's
of. And then the other
horrifying.
thing is we're kind of working on reproducing this bug where sometimes when you log into the game, you die. Like, you die immediately. And we're just kind of calling that the Ronick simulator bug.
That works great.
Oh, that's great.
He's well known for that.
Absolutely.
Well, Kim, that's awesome. And I know that you've also been responsible in your team for really pushing builds. I noticed how frequently you've been getting those updates and staging those builds out so that you're progressing through the different things, eliminating bugs and checking back up on them as well. I mean, how many builds would you say you've gone through already since HDRP?
So there's definitely been more builds than what we've deployed to test, because with testing, as long as we have something solid to test, like one of the creative devs maybe has something really solid and complete that they want us to test, then we'll go ahead and push it. But we tend to not push when things are in the middle of a transition or middle of being created. So once at least one dev says, hey, I've got this great thing that y'all can test, we go ahead and push, and we've probably done 5 really big ones. Everyone was pretty happy with where they had things. We get it pushed out, we test, and then we give feedback, and there's regression testing, and we go back and forth and we iterate together. It's actually really fun.
That's awesome. So Kim, thank you to you and your team for all your hard work. I know you're pushing towards us getting to that potential to eventually have that external test. So without everything that you and your team do,
The potential to eventually.
I know the community loves hearing that. So
All right, absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Close to the potential to eventually. Keep that in mind.
all right, David. Wow. So, I mean, I'm sure you have something to say about.
I mean, the Ronick simulator. A2, QA, A2. And here I was about to talk about how they're the unsung heroes of the team. They really, their work is super repetitive. They do some deep testing over and over, and it the whole situation is impressive. It's a lot of work, and they don't really get enough credit for it. But I'm not going to say any of that because
of the Ronick simulator, the Destin.
Because of the Ronick simulator. But I do love how she mentioned that the game is so good that it's melting the eyeballs of the characters.
It's like Indiana Jones.
It is terrifying. It was only in the most recent build that we saw, so it's probably an easy bug to fix. But I posted a picture in our group chat of my halfling. It's like straight out of like a horror movie. It's scary looking. So,
yeah, we'll get that fixed. We
need to have like an area of NPCs without eyes, like the eyeless or something. That would be pretty sick. Scary.
Aren't the eyeless already a type of NPC? Isn't that? Now I gotta go confirm that. As I'm pretty sure. Off to the library. I'll do this. Do I have them labeled as eyeless? No. But I think they're in the Isle of Infinite Storm, aren't they? Is it this? Oh, I think it's this one. We're taking a little detour. Pardon me. I need to satisfy my curiosity. Let's see. So he does all the ability stuff, yada yada yada.
We've set this.
I'd probably suggest.
Okay.
We're coming up to the point where.
Torn Eyeless. Called it. Yes, the Torn Elves. There it is. All right. Moving on.
I'm not going to mess around with QA too much because, you know, if you want to be on anybody's good side on the team, it's them. So I'll leave that at that. But hey guys and gals, it's that time. You know, I love to talk about it. If you guys like what you see here, please go to pantheonmmo.com and check out our pledge page. We have all kinds of tiers. All kinds of pledges. I think we're having some new pledges soon. I might talk out of turn. I don't know. But yeah, check it out.
No Beans Bendine is fuming right now.
Pantheon's a crowd-funded game, so we really appreciate what everybody does for us. And if you want to help out, please.
And honestly, even like being able to do these streams and interact with you all in the community, and the amount that we're able to interact in Discord and all the social media, like it keeps everybody going. I know we say it a lot, David, but there's a lot of tough days of just working, and getting those few moments to interact with the community always brightens up everybody's day. So thank you guys, honestly, for everything you do. It's incredible. And thank you for all the support that's provided. So David, how about, this is a fun one.
Don't forget to send people to our Twitter and our Facebook and all our social media. Yep. Sorry, I'm the
of course.
Yes, we're moving on. Moving on. So we're going to be talking next to the design team. You know, the design team has kind of been working on class refinement. You heard a little bit about the QA and the testing feedback coming back with combat balance and challenge. You know, they're also working on some VFX additions to spells and abilities. But again, you don't want to hear from Minus and I, so let's turn it over to the experts.
Yeah, and this one's a little bit longer, but this one, get ready for beans. Everybody, get ready for beans.
Here come the beans.
Hey everybody, I just wanted to say thank you to Adam Tehom Mostel, who is joining me here to talk a little bit about, a little more in depth for the design team. I'm sure that David and myself could talk a little bit about it, but Adam, you're in there, you live that life. So, you know, what's going on in design right now?
Oh my goodness, a lot. that's honestly, like, that's the first kind of phrase that comes to my mind. And that's because we are moving on many different fronts all at once. You know, at the kind of conclusion of HDRP, and as the new project kind of came back online and as we got access to our tools, you know, we have been working on updates to our combat formulas, to our pacing, to our class designs that have all been intended to kind of be part of this next build, right? This next kind of major milestone that we've been working towards. And so as part of that, you know, there are a lot of components that go into that, right? There's, of course, a lot of balancing, a lot of tuning, a lot of ability work, both on player and NPCs. And then, of course, in addition to that, we've gotten support for other things as well, right? One of the most recent ones that comes to mind is actually crafting. This is probably going to be exciting for a lot of people out there. And I know we talked about this on the last producer's letter a little bit, but crafting is really like fully underway. We have been working on getting data into our tables, you know, getting everything structured out for that modeling. And we're expecting that to go into testing very soon. Don't have a date yet, but we're pretty much almost there for that first pass on crafting, and that's really exciting. We have been very heavily focused on updating itemization. So, you know, especially as we talk about the fact that we've updated the population in Thronefast, and of course, you know, the changes to abilities, the changes to formulas, the changes to stat weights. There's a lot of work being done just to update the loot tables, you know, bring things a little bit more in line with kind of what our vision is for how frequently players should be finding items off of enemies and what kind of items they should be able to find off of enemies. Doing a lot of work to get our itemization up to par on that front, while also doing some exploration work on, you know, some additional tuning that we may want to do on that front. Nothing finalized, but again, you know, as we go through the iterative process, as we take a look at kind of all of our designs that we had on paper prior to this conversion, and see how it's all rolling out, right? You know, against our expectations, against what we want to see, against what QA is finding. And they find a lot. Like, honestly, they've been great. Really appreciate everything that they have done for us so far. But, you know, it is bringing things to light, which we always expect to happen. And so there's, you know, additional adjustments that are going underway there, and additional system design, and just, you know, more fine tuning and massaging to get things, in line with where we want them to be from a kind of design level. And then, on my part, I am working really heavily on just tweaking and tuning those class abilities. QA, again, has done a great job at identifying issues as they crop up. That has actually revealed some things that, even though they were working for us, again, on paper, as we extrapolate those out across a number of levels, we look at some of the scaling between abilities, and if we need to make adjustments, and if we do make adjustments, how does that go downstream? So there's a lot of back-end work occurring there. And I want to stress that, right? Because, we mentioned that, for example, Cleric, we're going to be part of this next build. And Cleric is up, right? Cleric is online.
It's exciting news. Exciting news.
It is, yeah.
There we go.
I'm
there
happy
go,
to see
Clerics.
it. And, it's up in a partial state, right? And I think that's an expectation that I definitely want to set. We are still in pre-alpha right after this whole conversion, and it's not a revamp, right? I think some people have been afraid that we're like refactoring combat, and it's not that, right? What it is that we've taken the existing structure, right, the existing tools that we have, the existing formulas that we have, and we walked it back and we said, look, what is the experience that we want to provide to the players? If you listen to the Parting the Veil with Joppa recently, where he talks about soloing and grouping, part of our formula adjustments and kind of what we needed to solve for was that relationship between solo and group play and the kind of experience that we want players to have. And he gave the example of the wolves that you would be running through AVP and a wolf might run up to you and one shot you, and that's just that's not kind of what we're aiming for. And so, we needed to tweak things on the back end to make sure that not only was that wolf not going to be a problem, but that, you could still have reasonable challenge where you would expect to find it. So, and so as part of that, when we talk about the classes that we bring online, we're bringing them online within a very specific framework. And we want to make sure that those classes are fun in that framework before we kind of go all in and flesh them out as fully as we want to. So if we take the Cleric, for example, they have a unique class resource, Celestial Power, which we did a little bit of redesign on what Celestial Power looked like and how that functioned, as part of this newest pass. But I wasn't happy with how it was rolling out, right? Like, again, in practice, it kind of wasn't meeting expectations. And so for the time being, I made a decision to just not turn Celestial Power on, right? And so you could say, okay, well, the Cleric is not, fully implemented, but, it exists, right? We're trying to make it fun without needing its unique class resource, right? Like the core ability kit, the core resource management should be fun and engaging and should kind of feel the way that we want the Cleric to feel. And then the Celestial Power component becomes another layer on top of that just makes something that's already fun and already exciting even more exciting.
It's a good strategy. It's a good strategy to start with the core, right? And if the core is good, all those layers are pretty and more fun. So
yeah. And that's like the Monk is a great example. The Monk, I spent a good amount of time playtesting that alongside Joppa and just, talking through what was his experience, what is he looking for? Like, is this kind of meeting the feel of the Monk that he, wanted to achieve? And, it took some time to talk through that and work through that and fine tune it. But where we landed after giving it, that kind of dedicated pass, it's really fun. Like, it's honestly probably like, I'm not normally a Monk player, but I actually really enjoy playing a Monk now in the current system just because of all of the different options that it has, the decisions that have to be made. When do you use your defensive cooldowns? When do you use things for crowd control and interrupts? It just feels very visceral. Those decisions feel weighty now, right? And that's really what we wanted to go for. And Monk is really hitting that note. But, there are other classes that are not. Rogue is a really good example where, my current focus is going into that Rogue's toolkit and, seeing where it needs to be fine-tuned, where things need to be realigned to make it feel as engaging as, some of the other classes. So, I think as we finalize those and as we figure those out and as we make sure that those are doing what we need them to do across the entire span of content that we plan for, it's going to be a lot easier for us to bring the other classes online. But right now, a lot of that focus is still on, taking the things that we have implemented and making sure that they are fun and that they are up to standards.
That's awesome. Hey, thank you for the update. And I'll give a little tease that you're actually going to be talking about something people haven't heard of yet in combat in the upcoming newsletter. So a little tease for the newsletter later in the month. But Adam, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you for all you and your team do. And I'm sure you've definitely gotten the community excited for all this.
Hey, you're very welcome. I am excited for them to see it.
All right.
I mean, I think that's just a good primer on game design in general. I think it's always a good reminder. Again, and that's one of the hard things about following game development like this out in the open, is that game development, game design, not even just MMO design, like any sort of game, is an incredibly iterative process, meaning that it goes through, it has to go through multiple forms, multiple variants in order to reach its best self. And it takes a long time sometimes, and it's a grind, and sometimes, and I'm speaking from experience here too. I don't know if everybody knows this, but like I do board game design on the side, and I have been doing that for a while, and a lot of the same principles apply to any sort of game. You when you're conceptualizing any sort of game, you put it down on paper first and try to sketch out the structure of it, but you can pretty much guarantee that what you put down on paper at first is not going to be exactly like how it ends up. You might think that every idea you have is just genius and the best thing ever. It's really easy to think like that. But that is a pitfall, because as they were saying, sometimes you might think you have the best plan, but then when you actually start testing it with all the other different factors. Now, MMOs are particularly complicated because MMOs are so complex, and there's so many different types of systems and layers that all have to mesh together. There's a lot of moving parts, but even with simple games, even with a card game, a very simple card game, it's impossible to just sit there and just imagine all the different types of interactions that can happen and account for all of them. And so that's why testing is so important, because that's the way that you discover those things where it's like, maybe this isn't really playing out exactly like how I had imagined. And so you make little tweaks gradually, a little bit at a time. Although like they were alluding to, you want to try to get as many big changes out of the way early as you can, because and get the core structure of it in place first. Because it doesn't matter how much good things you layer on top of a rotten core, it's still going to be rotten. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's just a good reminder, because it can be hard as viewers from the outside. Like Matthew pointed out, like, I wonder how Minus feels about that. He loved the rogue as it was. I'm sure he's not the only one, right? Like it's so hard where they're in the middle of an iterative process, and you might see something, you're like, that's perfect, I want it to stay just like that, but the chances are that it's probably not going to stay just like that. It can be disappointing when you to cling on to something that you like, but then they realize, because of something else that's going on, we need to change this other thing. And it's just, again, it all comes down to perspective. From the outside, it's like, we can't see that whole perspective and how everything works together. So yeah, so that's game design for you, though. But it seems like things are trending in the right direction, and the adjustments seem to be getting smaller and smaller over time, and so they're kind of like dialing it in there.
Right. So always fun to chat with Adam, but gave some great updates there, David. There's a lot of beans in there. Did you catch them all?
I hope so. Lot to digest for sure.
Bean alert.
The things that stood out to me. I know you love crafting, so we can talk a little bit about crafting. Yes, I know your claim to fame. You were the first person to craft on stream, so congrats on that. But I'm a big crafter. I always find it's like whenever I need a moment to like relax in MMOs, I love crafting, so glad to hear that that's kind of progressing and moving along, and I've seen it, so I haven't just heard it. Cleric, huge. That it's getting back in game. I'm kind of myself. It's one of the classes that I've been considering, so I'm super excited about that.
Me too.
Personally.
I will say, so I know I've been talking about for a long time. I've always said I'm going to be a dwarf cleric because I've played a cleric in a lot of games. I mained a dwarf cleric in DDO, which, as many of you know, was like my game for several years, and that was a hugely like formative experience, not only in like my gaming life, but just my life as a whole. And I love clerics. But I gotta say though, the more I think about it and the more I hear, like I'm sure I will play a cleric. I'm gonna play every class at some point, but I don't know if I'm gonna land on it as my main. I'm probably in the same boat as Ronick, where I'm considering it. It's top 3 right now. It might even be top 2. It's second or third though. Again, right now, this is gonna change. Probably once we get into alpha and I can kind of like test them all more thoroughly. But right now, honestly, I'm leaning toward Enchanter. That's what has my attention right now. I would love to not only see an Enchanter on stream, I would like to play an Enchanter on stream. Sorry, something in my throat. Because it's kind of a similar feel. So I've been playing an Enchanter in EQ with the group that I run with some of my family members, and I've been loving it. Like I never really had that much experience with it, but I was always kind of intrigued. And then once I start playing, I'm like, this is like the coolest class ever. Like, again, maybe it's just like the honeymoon phase, whatever. But like, it seems, I was like, there's very few things that this class can't do, and it's kind of the same. I like the feel though. And again, I know that the Pantheon Enchanter isn't going to be the exact same thing as an EverQuest Enchanter, but it's the same role. Like, I like that role. And Cleric is this way too, where it's like your party is pretty much relying on you. Like, you really have to be on your game, or else things go wrong. If you're crowd controlling as an Enchanter and you drop the ball, like, those mobs are going to overrun your group probably, and they're going to know that it was your fault. Like, I kind of like that suspense, and the sometimes heartbreaking but also satisfying process of learning and getting good at that, and getting to the point where once you eventually just get in a groove, and it's like juggling, and it's like it feels very gratifying once you can get to that point where you're juggling all these balls, but everything's going smoothly and your whole party's better for it. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking right now. We'll see how it plays out. Stay tuned for more details, see if that changes. But right now I would say I'm Enchanter, second Cleric, of course, and then third Paladin. Paladin is like kind of a somewhat distant third. Again, we're talking main. I will try out all of the classes, and I might be surprised. Like, I want to try out the Ranger. Like, there's plenty of other classes that I want to see. Most of them, but you can only have one main though. I have a bunch of alts, but like for the main, the Paladin, I don't know. Again, it's a tank. As a tank, it's again very important role, and a very a role that is often it's often hard to find people who play a tank again, because there's so much pressure. So many people are counting on you. So not a lot of people play tanks, but yeah, I don't know if I'd have, I don't know if I'm quite there on the mindset where I want to like make that my thing. You know what I mean? But we will see. Enough about that. Let's carry on.
What else?
About 12 minutes left.
The monk, I have to say, like, the dedication and the the sort of diligence in which the team is putting toward the classes, and Adam talked there a little bit about the monk, and I feel like each class is going to get that TLC too. I think that's what's going to be the game changer. I think that's going to be the thing that really makes Pantheon, a difference maker for Pantheon.
Yep. Yeah, without a doubt. And we teased it.
Matthew says everybody's going to be an enchanter. I don't think so. I really don't think so. But we'll see. I mean, honestly, in all seriousness, I do like playing classes that nobody else plays. And that in some ways does factor into my decision, because it's easier to find groups that way. Like, newsflash. So if there are like just a ton of enchanters, then yeah, I might look at something else. It is, I don't think that will be the case, but enchanters can do a lot. They can group, they can provide like CC to a group. They can do buffs. They'll probably be pretty good at soloing. Like, if you can't find a group, you want to just solo, like with charm. Like, there's very few things that they can't do. So we will see. But I remember on Reddit, which is like one of the biggest platforms that Pantheon has, they did a questionnaire, which I am looking up right now. They did a questionnaire, like a player questionnaire, to see all sorts of things, to poll the community on all sorts of things. But one of them was what class they would play. So, okay, so it's got 500. This is the most recent too. This is like the 7th player questionnaire. So 527 responses, which is not, this is not the whole, this is not the whole community by any means, but it's a pretty good sample size. I would guess this is, fairly representative. So crowd control. Well, support, it's hard to tell, is Enchantress kind of crowd control, kind of support? I would think it's mostly crowd control, though, which is actually the smallest percentage here. Favorite class, Enchanter, 8.9% on this poll. So, definitely not the most common. It's not a blowout, but in fact, they're all pretty evenly spread out, which I think is good. I think that's a good sign. But again, who knows? We will find out. We'll get a better idea in alpha.
At the end there, but definitely check out the newsletter when it comes out. There's going to be a full article on something that's going to affect everybody who plays. It's a really neat addition. They've been working on it. QA has been helping test it like crazy. So check that out. Don't want to spoil it, but combat influencing, fun discussion coming up. So sure. The final team here, and definitely not, saving one of the best for last year for sure. It's the HR team. And it's exciting, David, to talk about the fact that there's 4 new positions that have been posted to our team. So we're currently looking for a character animator / rigger. We're looking for an environment concept artist. We're looking for a 3D environmental artist, world builder, and finally a 3D character artist. So really exciting when we have a chance to expand the team. And, as we've kind of talked about that this year being a big year in driving in that roadmap, obviously more hands are going to help. So, talking with the HR team, they told me that, as we could imagine, there was a lot of interest in these positions, which is great to hear. We received a great many of applicants directly from HR, and they're going through them. So, we're looking to get some great people on board. So really excited. And I think, You can see it's very art focused and world building and 3D and animation. So I think it's something a lot of people are probably pretty happy to hear about. So
yeah, for sure. I think, it just really goes to the progress we're making this year, and the expansion of the team just, reinforces that. And these are big positions. These aren't just, it's not like when we hired you for coffee.
Yeah. I'm pretty good at getting coffee, though. I mean, let's be
You
fair.
are. I mean, you're excellent. I mean, it's the reason why you're still here. No kidding. Obviously, to be fair, Tony I was on vacation and Tony did a lot of work for the stream. So thank you there, Tony.
Hey, one team, one dream.
One team, one dream. So I guess that's it, huh?
So we got some exciting stuff to show still. It's a little longer of a stream today. I'd really like to hear from everybody in the comments when you're rewatching this, or in the comments to the chat right now, what you thought of having these little audio clips, getting to hear a little bit from the teams themselves. Just something different we want to do, because there's a lot of work being done, and we sit in these calls and we hear it, but we don't get to always talk about it, right? And you kind of see the updates in the Road to Alpha roadmap when we put it out in the newsletter. But just let me know how you guys thought about that. If you like the little clips of sound, I know it's a little different, but I thought it was a way to kind of capture the spirit of some people without taking too much of their time. So, but David, we want to also show, right? So a lot of the stuff we've shown so far, we've shown before. We showed the weapon clips, which were new. But what do you say we show some cool stuff off, and we start with an area that the community has never seen before with a little introduction? What do you think?
Sounds perfect.
Oh, maybe this will be what that screenshot was about.
1 to 2 minute introduction to a new
promo.
area that is in Wild's End. The Daedrum Ascent is a windswept crag carved into the mountains of Wild's End. Despite the overall traversal being a bleak, wind-hammered escarpment set in slate tones and muted grays, strong material variance arrives in the form of rich, fiery impositions of lichen and coarse, wire-like craigenweed, whose varnished copper outcroppings and foliage thrust upward into the stony tundra to offer stark contrast. The sheer blackened incline of the ascent terminates in an imposing edifice, a fortress-like structure, angular and repetitious in its design sensibilities, whereas in the draconian aesthetic holds sway, ancient polished stone of dense onyx enshrined in metallized silver and gunmetal.
I'm sorry to interrupt this, but that is a super cool looking room. I love double staircases like that. I don't know what it is about this, but I love the way. If they can show a screenshot of that, I will poop my pants on stream.
A leaf, harmoniously dressed by opulent fabrics wrought in royal, regal purple, laced with cardinal ruby. While ever present, the sharp, hot scent of dragon as a begulling incense, the visible and incandescent breath that pervades the height of Daedrum Ascent. Beware the talon blight, dear traveler, as you make your way up this torturous crag, for its fearsome touch still lingers upon the mountain stone rent long ago, torn asunder by a frightful dragon rage, still corrosive to the touch, yet bearing its baneful curse. Of course, there are many things to discover for the risks and danger that finds home in the Daedrum Ascent, and we'll leave those mysteries for you to solve. All right, David, so the Daedrum Ascent. Why don't you tell people a little bit about what you know about it?
What do I know about it? Well, I mean, everybody loves dragons, right? And it's a very sort of dragon-heavy influenced area. I think it's funny because people were, we had put out the promo and people were trying to guess what it was, and actually a lot of people got it based on the patch notes.
I think I did. I did guess.
I think the area itself, it's got this ominous presence.
Well, hey, when you're talking about it, do we want to show some in-game of it?
Oh, God.
I mean, we showed concept art and did an intro, but do you want to show some in-game while you're kind of talking about it?
Whoa.
Does the community want to see that? I think they do. All right, let's go ahead and show some in-game. Here's the outside of the area, and David, you can kind of talk over this as well, but here it comes.
Okay.
So remember, guys, it is in development, guys. This is mid development. That's what this streams. We want to do more of, David, right? Is show in development progress to people. I think it went really well with showing like what Wild's End used to look like and then getting into HDRP. So we want to show how much is being worked on, even if we can only show in progress. So here's the outside.
Oh yeah, that's
so,
where
David,
this.
Sorry, interrupt you.
That's where that
what do you
promo
think
shot
when you
was
see some of
taken.
this?
No, it's fine. You mean people don't want to just hear us talk? I thought that was okay. Yeah. So like we said, like I think the area
Wow, that
itself,
looks really good.
it has this like ominous presence. You obviously you're climbing to heights here. It's another one of those situations where climbing is really going to come into play. And can I say that there's more than one way to get there? Am I allowed to talk about that?
Of course.
Okay.
I think you just did.
Yeah, I think I did.
I think we're gonna need some climbing. I
think it's this again. We always talk about scale, and we always talk about in this particular case, it's the views and the height and where
I like
you
that.
are when you arrive at the ascent. What you want to add some more? I don't want to talk about the inside yet.
Oh, it's like different time of day too. Wow, the rock looks so different at night. It's like
finding
red.
a way to traverse up. You're not seeing the enemies and the dangers that are going to face you. Will there be atmospheres you have to deal with? Will there be climates you have to deal with, or fractures? Who knows? It's a very interesting area, and there's no, at this point the foliage isn't in yet, right? We're just doing the base designing, so there's going to be a lot of danger trying to just get up to the top. And as you see the video looping here, you can see there's a little bit of an inside there. So David, do you want to show some of that inside? It's early work.
Yeah. This is, again, everything you're seeing is super early. But let's check out the inside.
So what's really cool as I'm about to throw this up is keep in mind that what you guys just saw with the concept art, because it's going to come to life a little bit here. So let's go ahead and I'm going to show the inside. So you can see that the height of this,
oh my god,
large, right? Again, theme in Wild's End, massive sizes, oversized trees, deep water.
So I said screenshot. This is not a screenshot. Is that not what I said? Okay. This is a video. This is not a screenshot. I want to go where. That looks really good. Where's the concept art? There's the concept art. Dang. So it doesn't have like the wings on the walls yet, but that looks really good. Oh god damn it. Sparrow says it is now that you paused it. Alright. Alright. Woo! Alright, got that out of the way. Let's
oversized trees, deep waters.
Let's continue.
Mountains, right? So
I popped a
very
vein.
Extreme differences in Wild's End, even with a smaller race. But I showed this, what you're seeing on the screen right now. I just wanted to show how cool that wall looks. I know that sounds silly, right, David? To say like, look at this wall. But the detail on the wall inside.
I mean, a promise is a promise, guys.
So it doesn't sound silly to me when you say that.
Yeah, I mean, the engraving and the
can't say I'm not a man of my word.
textures that are used on this wall to kind of like tie into this really important area. And what we already said, dragon, right? Is there a dragon in here? I don't know. But is this made because of some dragon? I don't know. But pretty neat stuff. You can kind of see that's the start of the inside. And David, you were kind of talking about it earlier.
I'm not listening to any of this, by the way, but it looks really good.
What should be many, many paths and some good adventuring.
Yeah, I'm excited to see when we're finished here and when it's all lit. But again, I think this comes back to us wanting to show things and not just talk about it. Even in this early stage, I think it helps to show where we are with the scale, where we are with texture, where we are with just the mood that we're trying to set in Wild's End and why it's going to be such a special zone.
Yep. So we were excited. I hope everybody enjoyed seeing Daedrum's Descent, another great area that we're going to hit. David, why don't you tell everybody how they can help support us? And then maybe we'll leave everybody with like a teaser ending.
Oh my
You guys want to see a
god.
little? Does everyone want to see a little bit more?
Minus in his
A little bit more?
teasers. I think I've
Alright,
had
you go to
enough.
Pantheon,
I've had enough
MMO.com.
teasers for one stream.
Hit the pledge pages. Pantheon's a crowdfunded game. As you can see, we're making some major progress this year, and every little bit helps. Yeah, you spoiled my. I wanted to say that we had one last teaser. You ruined my whole bit. You ruined my whole bit. No, we got one last teaser to sign off for the night. Again, what you're seeing is still in early development. Yeah,
It's
we
awesome,
think it's
though.
awesome.
It's so awesome.
So enjoy, and we'll see you next month.
Yeah, we're out,
Moving
guys and girls, and everyone else out there. We're out, but enjoy this awesome review.
It's a tree. Oh no, I know where this is going. We're going up. Sorhirith. That's pretty dope. That's sick. Do we see slingshots? Aren't they supposed to have slingshots? Keep an eye out for slingshots. I see there's like rugs, like hanging. Super colorful. Very nice. That looks really good. I also love the music too. You want to watch it again? Let's just watch it again, because that was surprising. Are there lifts? Like, how do you get up there? Oh yeah, that looks like a lift. That's a lift. Dang, you can really level up your climbing skill there. That's really good. And yeah, right? Calithin on steroids. I mean, I'm sure anybody's played EverQuest, I'm sure that's very reminiscent of Calithin. I'm sure they got some inspiration from that. But I mean, who doesn't love Calithin though? That's like an iconic zone. Everybody loves a city in the trees. That's just good. That's just good stuff. That's good stuff. That'll be that's some good footage for you content creators too. That's wow. So yeah, so I was going to say I had made a note on my little notepad about how, because for most of the stream, you know, it was just talking, and there's nothing inherently wrong with just talking about their progress. And I had actually and I was thinking, I was like, okay, well, you know, they're working on the network stack, like that is the, you know, that's the main thing, and that's like major surgery. So I was like, okay, so, you know, they might not really be able to show as much because of that, you know, I guess that's kind of understandable. Like, we're just gonna have to kind of weather that out for another month or so, because last month was like eye candy galore with HDRP stuff and the day-night cycle and water and everything, like that was all visuals pretty much. So I was like, okay, you know, they can't all be like that. But then they went and proved me wrong at the end there in a pretty big way. I genuinely was not expecting when I saw the concept art, I genuinely did not think that they were actually going to show this, because I was like, this is too cool. Like, this looks too cool. They're not going to show it. They're not going to give that away. Like, it's just teasing it with the concept art. I should have known better. I should have known. But hey, if I make a promise, I'm gonna keep it. It's just yeah, that clip will haunt me for a long time.
A little bit of an insight.
This just looks so. That's like. And that's just one. That's just with one world builder. Like this is pretty. That's pretty impressive progress. And I mean, we've seen Wild's End now evolve from Greybox to this in, you know, a matter of a few months, basically. And that's really good for one guy. Tim Schaller. And I mean, I know there's other people that are part of the process, but you know, he's actually the one, you know, putting this together. So, and they're hiring more, you know, like that's another big thing. That and the network stack integration that's ongoing now with the hiring of the new people. It sounds like they got a lot of good applications. So when they can actually get those people like onboarded though, like that's another huge step, because art creation and like world building has been a bottleneck for a long time. And so the more that they can ease that bottleneck, the better, because you know, this is great, but there's still a lot more to go. So, but you know, it's always a good sign anytime they're hiring. That's always a good sign. That's why it's so ridiculous, to be honest, the people that are like, oh, this project's dead. It's like a dead project doesn't hire 4 new artists, you know. Like if they had no money, they wouldn't be doing that. So it's all very good signs. Man of Rohan says, I'm looking for Denethor. That actually, it is very reminiscent of that. It almost looks exactly, he just falls right off the edge there, on fire. I can totally see that.
So David, do you want to show some of that inside? It's early work.
Yeah. This is, again, everything you're seeing is super early. But let's just.
Reasonable person says, do you think the new artists will be used for the other continents while they finish King's Reach and prep for Alpha? Probably not. At least not mostly. So I know it sounded like in the last roundtable, because they hired Holly, a new concept artist, and she was talking about it. It sounded like she was working on concept art for Rainfall. She was talking about the Netherian Red and like the Dark Mirror and stuff. Like that's Rainfall. That's the second continent where you've got Scar, Ogre, and Dark Mirror, and then White Thaw being the third continent, with the Archai, Dwarf, and Gnomes. And Amber Fate will be on White Thaw as well. But yeah, we have not really seen any of the continent of Rainfall, and so it sounds like they're working on concept art for that now. So, and they are hiring new concept artists. So it's possible that some of that concept art work will go toward Rainfall. Like if they've already got all the concept art they need for King's Reach, then why make more? Okay. Yeah, so they're hiring character animator and rigger, environment concept artist, 3D environment artist and world builder, and 3D character artist. So again, this is not official. This is just me hypothesizing. You know, character animator and rigger and 3D character artist, like those are NPCs. Those are character models and things like that. So that's not necessarily exclusive to like one continent. But so environment concept artist very well could be getting a head start on the concept art for Rainfall. But again, my understanding though with 3D environment artist and world builder, I would suspect that they would want to be getting King's Reach done as soon as possible, and having an additional 3D environment artist and world builder would help with that. Like it just would help them get the world done faster and help them get to alpha faster, and everything right now is about getting to alpha faster. So that's my hypothesis. What do you guys think? Walking Waste says, can't wait to see what White Thaw will be like. Me too, because we've seen very little of it. Like I said, I think we've only seen Amber Fate, just as like a little preview, but that's where the dwarves are, and you know I'm gonna be going dwarf. That's the other thing about being an enchanter. I actually think even if there are a lot of enchanters in the game, I don't think there's gonna be many dwarf enchanters. Even if it's not like, I like to optimize my character, definitely, but I'm not like 100% min-maxer, and so like even if dwarf enchanter is maybe not the ideal like best statistically enchanter, I'm still gonna go dwarf just because I like dwarfs. That's just what I do. So as a dwarf, I will be spending quite a bit of time on White Thaw, and it's snowy tundra. So yeah, can't wait. But I think it seems like that will probably be the third continent that they bring online. It seems like it's going King's Reach, for alpha. Pretty much all of King's Reach is supposed to be available by the end of alpha, and then if that goes well, then that will give them momentum they need to finish the rest of the world. But I'm guessing it'll probably go Rainfall after that, and then White Thaw. A lot of people don't even know White Thaw is planned, to be honest, because it wasn't part of that atlas that they released like 2015, years and years ago. But that stayed on the website for a long time. It just had King's Reach and Rainfall. So a lot of people probably don't even know that White Thaw exists. My Amber favorite. Oh, that's adorable. Man of Rohan. Sparrow says, I was a teeny bit irked when I saw the concept art first, but then blown away. What irked you about it? I'm pretty blown away myself. It's like, this looks like I wanna fight some stuff in here. Like, that just looks like a good place to be fighting some stuff. And yeah, the dragon head. I saw somebody earlier said they wanted to climb up into the dragon head. That's a great idea. And I love that, like, thinking out of the box. Like, in most games, you wouldn't even think that that's an option, but in Pantheon, although I'm guessing this looks like sheer metal. Like, there doesn't look like a whole lot to grab onto. Like, I don't know what your climbing skill would have to be like to climb up just a smooth metal vertical wall, but or maybe it's stone, but still. But I love that, we're already kind of starting to think about, like, where can you go that you wouldn't normally be able to? It even looks like there's, like, is that like a door or a window, like, above the dragon head? Like, maybe you can get up there. Maybe you come, like, out, or, like, you go in and then you come out that way? I don't know. Stratus says there's definitely something hidden above that dragon head. That would be pretty cool. That would be cool. It's a good place to hide something. I'm gonna mute this, and then we're just gonna kind of like look at the I just want to watch this video again. It's interesting that like the grass comes in a little bit, and then there's these like braziers. Huh. There's like these side hallways. Hey, Crypt Fox, welcome. Yeah, this is just I like it. I like it. That's all I can say. Well, this ended up being, this is a solid stream. Good stuff. I think that's pretty much it for me though. I think that's all the thoughts I have. What about you guys? Sparrow says, shall we say, it is the shit. Yes, this stream was the shit. And on that note, I'm gonna get going. Because I have a lot to do today. This is a great way to spend the early part of my afternoon though. But so I have a new video coming out again on my YouTube channel early next week. I'm working on a video that is kind of bouncing off of the last Parting the Veil episode. Just talks about soloing in Pantheon and, you know, what to do if you don't necessarily have a lot of time to play and things like that, which I think a lot of us can probably relate to. So I've got that coming out, and I've also got Pantheon Jeopardy. We're getting there. I know I've been talking about it for a while because that's going to be the biggest live production I've ever done. A game show, live game show with real people from the community competing to win an Pantheon Alpha pledge. So that's coming up as well. And actually the applications for being a contestant on that show are still open. They're open now. I just, you know, and I'm gonna throw a link, since I've got you here, I'm gonna throw a link in chat. If you would like to be a contestant on Pantheon Jeopardy, you can fill out this form, and before, this is important, before Monday, they're gonna close. The applications are gonna close on Monday. There you go. I just posted it in chat. I'll post it on YouTube as well. If you want a chance to win that $300 alpha pledge or upgrade, if you already have a pledge and you want to apply that toward an upgrade, you can do that as well. Fill out that whole form before Monday, and then we'll be reaching out to the people. It's a little bit of like a general Pantheon knowledge test, just to kind of get an idea for how much you already know about Pantheon. But the people who do best on this test will be selected, will be offered an opportunity to be a contestant on the show. If you got a camera and you're willing to come on camera and answer questions about Pantheon, then that is for you. So got that coming up. Look forward to. Other than that, though, I'm gonna head out. Thank you, each and every one of you, for hanging out with me here today. This was memorable, to say the least. I hope to see you again next time. Until then, stay safe, stay curious, and adventure on.